Hello and welcome to a global event hosted by Kingspan. At Kingspan, we like to stay curious and ask ourselves, what if? What if buildings could be lower embodied carbon? What if we could have a full spectrum of insulation that included bio-based materials? What if we could make insulation from hemp? Today's masterclass will talk about insulation made from hemp and biogenic materials. I understand that you might be curious also, and you might have questions. And if you do, please look at the screen behind me and send any questions you have to that email address. We'll look at questions and answer them after the masterclass is finished. If we don't have time for your questions, we'll answer them after today. I'll now hand over to Hannah and Dennis, who will take you through today's masterclass.
Hi, my name's Hannah Rockneen, and I'm a research and development engineer here in Kingspan.
And I'm Dennis Moll. I work for Kingspan Installation and basically working every day to make sure our future portfolio is bulletproof.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Good luck.
So today I'm going to introduce you to an ongoing project we have here in Icon called HemKor. So HemKor is a project that we started because, as we know, the world around us has changed in the last 100 years in regards to education, technology, and our natural environment around us. The global emissions has increased over the last 100 years, and due to this, our world's temperature has increased and is now damaging our Earth. There is a worldwide initiative now to try and decrease the temperature down to 1.5 degrees, and in doing so, we hope to reduce the global emissions as well. In the construction sector alone, we contribute almost 40% of all global emissions. And as a manufacturer, we have the ability to try and reduce this. One way we are doing this is that we started our environmental program called Planet Passionate. So this is a 10-year program that we started back in 2020, where we have 4 main environmental targets. So one is that we're trying to reduce our carbon emissions within our products and production lines. We're trying to create more and use more renewable energy, as well as introducing more circularity products and productions as well. And our final target is that we're trying to reduce and reuse more water. Today I'm presenting you from Icon, which is our innovation centre based here in Ireland. Here we have a full team of engineers, chemists, as well as our new Coval team, all working on different areas of the business. Not only do we work in Ireland, but we work globally within all areas of Kingspan, all different divisions, everyone around the world, all connecting together, creating new, innovative products and development. Here's just an example of a few of our products currently on the market, from power panel, insulation cores, data and flooring, and much more. Even within our insulation core range, we prioritise fire, thermal conductivity, low embodied carbon, and much more. And today we have the opportunity to expand using biogenic materials. So for those of you who don't know, biogenic materials come from living organisms or biomass. They are renewable, have low embodied carbon, and have a much safer end of life in regards to compostability and biodegradability compared to fossil-based materials. So some of these materials are more well known, such as wood is currently being used in furniture and timber, whereas wool is currently being used in textiles and clothing. Some of these biomaterials are more innovative now in regards to small-scale products, such as algae is now being used as an alternative for plastic, and as well mycelium is now being used as an alternative for leather. So there's 3 types of biogenic materials. One comes from agricultural and plant-based materials. One, it comes from fungi and bacteria, and then another is a byproduct from animals such as wool. And with our HemKor, we now have the opportunity to expand using biogenic materials. So as I said in the start of this presentation, I was going to discuss insulation cores using alternative materials. So we saw that there was a shift in the market and that more customers wanted to use more environmentally safe materials, and this is why we wanted to use biogenic materials. So we are focusing on decarbonisation, and as some of you might not know, biogenic materials absorb carbon from the atmosphere and keep it stored during its product's lifetime. We set out certain parameters and scope within this project. So one, as I said, was biogenic materials. Another was that we wanted to use virgin materials or byproducts from production lines. And then we also set out certain parameters in regards to thermal and physical properties. And here in ICON, we had a wide range of testing and screening that we could do in regards to small-scale fire testing in our chemical lab, as well as large-scale environmental testing in our mechanical and development lab. So this is just an example of a few of the testing here we can do in ICON, but there is a wide range of testing that could further help our development. And as we were studying insulation, thermal conductivity was our most important factor, and to date we have completed between 400 to 500 different assessments on a wide range of materials. And one of the materials I'm going to talk to you today is wood fibre. So wood fibre is one of the most well-known bio-based insulation product on the market. It has been around for years compared to other bio-based products. The raw material of wood can either be harvested directly from trees or can be taken as byproduct from production processes such as wood pulp. So bio-based products aren't solely 100% from biogenic materials. So a wood fibre insulation board is made with wood fibre, additives, as well as a binder. And these boards can be binded either through chemically bonded or a non-woven technique. And through these different bonding processes, you can get a wide range of densities and property characteristics such as thermal conductivity, as well as compression, tensile, and more. The second material I'm going to talk to you about is hemp. So for those of you who don't know, hemp is a plant, and the hemp insulation core is made with hemp fibres, which are normally extracted through the stalk of the plant, which is a byproduct of a production process. So normally the stalk of the plant would be considered a waste. And again, these hemp insulation boards are made with binders and additives as well. One thing about hemp that is much more an advantage compared to wood is that hemp grows every couple of months, so there is a constant supply, whereas wood would take 30 to 40 years to grow. Hemp is relatively new, so there is still room to improve the product. It is still only around a certain range of density. It is quite soft and, and it is relatively new, as I said. So these are just two of the products that we are currently looking into now within our HemKor project, but there is a wide range of biomaterials that could be used in insulation, but way more products out there to date. And now I'll pass you over to Dennis.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Hannah. Quite exciting to see all the work that has been done at ICON with new installation technologies, especially, of course, with future generations in mind. And for me, at least, want to extend a warm welcome to the people here at ICON, but also our viewers. So hopefully we can have some interesting discussions afterwards about the products that we bring to market. Today it's about HemKor, our first bio-based product that we bring to the market. But first I wanted to scope a little bit with a kind of a short story why this is quite important that we are doing today as well. Because not so long ago, I was basically sitting at the kitchen table talking about the upcoming launch, quite exciting to see, of course. And my now 14-year-old son is actually also following the news a bit on his tablet, so those devices actually have a purpose as well. He was actually questioning me about the fact that in Holland we seem to be behind with regards to sustainability and performance in Europe. And he actually asked me the question, how do I feel about that? Because of my work and our work in insulation, and also our focus on sustainability. And basically, only thing I could answer is that everyone can make their own choices every day and hopefully help change and drive towards a better future, which I feel very lucky to be part of Kingspan as well, because I feel that's a shared ambition that we do on a daily basis here. Because the world is actually changing, and we can see that in the way basically we work nowadays, working away from home. Digitization obviously has new tools to communicate to each other, the internationalization of companies everywhere around the world. It has an impact on how we build our buildings. But we can also see that in the way we live. More one-person households, starters, students, expats, and even fugitives coming to our countries and who are in need of homes as well. Urbanization, for example, moving towards rural areas, impact on space. so possibly quality over quantity, also has a profound impact on how we build our buildings and how we design them. So the role of construction is quite large. Everything has an impact on how we build. And the positive thing is that everything we do as Kingspan, as one of the leading companies, has a profound impact on the future as well. And all these changes also mean that we have new performance criteria basically added to the desire of our customers. For example, we've talked about sustainability, but also human well-being, for example. And all these changes make our buildings much more complex, and there's no two buildings that are the same. Every building has its own ambition and possibly needs its own part of solutions to make sure that we deliver what our customer sets out to have. And that's why at Kingspan we will be adding new installation technologies to our portfolio to make sure that we can basically customize and serve the demand of our customers, to make sure that every building gets exactly what it deserves. And we are calling it our full spectrum solutions approach. And basically it means that we will be introducing new technologies, new installation technologies, as for example mentioned earlier, in our portfolio. And today it's about that. But to scope that a little bit further, in the past I think everyone is quite aware of the legacy products that are available in insulation, like rock mineral fiber and glass mineral fiber. And Kingspan always has driven towards advanced categories in trying to optimize performance. For example, thermal performance with PAR products, our Cooltherm phenolic foam products, recently launched HemKor products, and also Optimar. In this case, we saw that we needed to add technologies to that portfolio to make sure that that complex building gets also the opportunity for new insulation materials. And in this case, the biogenic materials, like for example, wood fiber and hemp fiber. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about specifically, hemp fiber. So say hello to HemKor. It's our insulation largely made from hemp. And if we talk about hemp, it might be good to zoom in on that remarkable plant first, because it is quite remarkable. First of all, it's very fast growing. Indeed, it grows in about 4 to 5 months from seed to maturity, and actually to about 5 meters high, and the roots going 3 meters deep. And that makes it very appropriate as well as a circulation crop because it rotates every few months. At the same point, during that growth by photosynthesis, it absorbs and captures quite a big amount of CO2. It's about between 9 and 13 tons per hectare harvested that is absorbed within the plant. And of course, that CO2, the portion of the hemp that we use in our insulation will also be stored in that building in the areas where hemp insulation is actually used. So it is a remarkable plant, and therefore say hello to HemKor. This is our new logo for our brand. That makes it quite clear where that comes from. Hem, of course, origination from that remarkable plant, and of course the core being that plant as well. But at the same time, we feel it's very important to be very transparent on what a bio-based product is. It's a new category for us, and we want to be also really specific on that. So that's why we have designed a trust mark, which is basically about products that are largely made from biomaterials and basically have a lower embodied carbon versus traditional products, and also a tested thermal properties. So every time we see this HemKor trust mark, then we know it's in the category of biogenic within our portfolio. Talking about the portfolio, I want to introduce a few products that we have available and that we will launch with. First product that we will use and launch is called HemKor Ute Blend. And it's a product that's relatively close to our traditional or legacy products, but with indeed a big difference, which is a bio-based content of above or equal to 80%, and a thermal conductivity, so a lambda value of 0.040. At the same time, we will launch a different product as well, which is called HemKor Pure. The difference is that the conductivity is slightly different, with a lambda value of 0.43, so a bit lower thermal performance. However, it's fully maximized to our bio-based content, and it reaches a 95% or above bio-based content. So even in this portfolio, we can see that some people who want to go for a maximized bio-based content, and others would prefer the thermal performance, depending on the ambitions and, of course, the building specifics. And the last part that we'll add to our portfolio is what we call our HemKor padding. Basically, it's an essential accessory, and it's a stuffing wool to make sure that if there are any gaps, that of course we can fill that to make sure that the complete insulated area is fully and well insulated. If we're talking about the products a bit and the composition, I would like to take out one example, which is the Jute blend. Talking about the composition, it actually contains, which is no surprise, hemp. It's largely made of hemp. But it also contains a different biomaterial as well, which is jute, and in this case, jute in the form of recycled jute bags. We also add recycled PET, and it functions as a binder for the product. And last but not least, we add soda. It's the washing soda to make sure that we, of course, have the fire performance as we design for the product. And in the end, I think the most important thing is as well that we have a declared bio-based content of 80% or above. And this is something that has been done and tested in accordance with EN standards. So we actually know that our bio-based performance is verified externally by third parties as well, which is very important to mention. So what are the other specifications of this Jute blend product? We've mentioned the thermal conductivity with a lambda value of 0.040. Reaction to fire is Euroclass E, and the mold growth is level 0. We'll get back to the benefits on that a bit later. Water vapor transmission with a value between 1 and 2, and the density is between 39 and 45 kilograms per cube. And if we look at our portfolio, we will feature different dimensions, of course, and different thicknesses in between 30 and 220 millimeters to make sure that we can offer the right solution for your buildings. So talking shortly about the benefits. First of all, the product has quite a high water permeability, which results in the vapor going through quite easy, which is an important factor as well. The fact that it's a fiber means it's quite flexible, so it has good connections between battens. So it's quite a tight and nice snug in between, for example, timber frames. And when you have pipes, electricity cables, you can comfortably work around. Regarding mold growth, that level 0 is actually the best class that we can reach, and that can help and support, obviously, a healthy indoor climate. And last but not least, the density makes sure that we have good rigidity for easy installation, which is an important factor as well. Moving on, we're talking about applications. We will go through this relatively quickly because I think they are the usual suspects, but very important to mention where we target to launch with our products in the beginning, which is, of course, first of all, our timber frame walls. And we're talking about in between the studs mainly. But also partition walls, so both metal stud and timber frame partition walls. And in the end, we're talking about a pitched roof as well on the inside, also in between frames. Now I want to go back to what if, because it sounds also like an ambition. It sounds like something in the future. It is possibly, but to a large extent, it's already not, because it's available right now. It can be placed in projects tomorrow. And one of the greater examples is the project in the Netherlands. It's called Bio-Based Bosveld. And it was designed by an architect agency called Bureau Kade. But it's made for a housing corporation that started out with 4 houses, terraced houses, as being quite traditional. But during the process, they upped the game, and they wanted to be as much as possible bio-based. So they started to redesign everything with all the materials inside. And actually, in the end, they've reached an 81% bio-based terraced house. And it's not a one-off. It's not a pilot. It's going to be built quite soon with the same architectural quality, with the same visual quality as that they set out to do from the beginning. I think that's a very positive message, because if we combine our forces with different elements, these things can be achieved. And that's why we are quite proud that we're actually part of this project, and we are part of this house that's going to be built in the pitched roof with HemKor UTBlend. So what if is very important to think about, but actually something that's available today is absolutely fantastic to achieve. And that's why we were also present on the Dutch Design Week, which is a very big event in the Netherlands, partly inspirational, but in this case already available right now. The house was featured, and parts of the house, but also all the partners that came together, supplied the products, the bio-based products, to give this result were there, and we were there as well with Kingspan. And it was fantastic to see that yes, it was about bio-based and bio-based and bio-based, but also a lot of people were very positive about the fact that Kingspan basically embraces new technologies and expanding our horizon and make something available at the moment for the more complex buildings that we are building now and in the future. And so therefore I think as a sign-off, a nice one is that together we need to discover new oceans, but we can't, of course, unless we have the courage to lose sight of the shore. So on that note, I would like to finalize my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to hear them. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah and Dennis.
You're welcome.
Great presentation. So we do have some questions from the audience.
Right.
So the first question we've got is, could bio-based products replace all chemical-based products?
It's not a simple yes or no question. So it's not whether or not they can replace it, but we need to adapt them all together and expand our portfolio. If you replace hemp directly with all fossil-based insulation at the market, we wouldn't have the supply, demand would be too high. We need to integrate them all together and like that expand our spectrum of products. Because if you take one object and replace it with another, you're just creating something that is very scarce, which is what we've seen with other fossil-based materials in the past. It's like they've been overused. So like that, we just need to expand our product range.
And maybe just to add on that, thank you, I agree. But it's also quite important that we see that indeed, as I presented, these buildings are becoming more complex and they are unique. And I think we need to balance out all technologies depending on the ambitions of our customers and the ambitions of the projects. So I think it will be a combination depending on the needs of our customers. So.
Okay, thank you. And second question is, what are the challenges from lab scale projects to full scale manufacturer product?
So even though a lot of biogenic materials are currently being used for prototypes, small scale lab projects, one of the hardest things is taking them to a manufacturing level because of supply. It's very easy to make lab scale products because you only have a small amount of material, and like that you're thinking of your supply, your production lines, cost, facilities. So it's one thing that needs to be considered a lot is how to take from small scale to large scale.
Anything to add, Dennis?
No, I think that is a quite complete answer.
Okay.
I'll leave that to Hannah.
Thank you. Okay, and the third question is specifically to do with HemKor. Is it third-party verified?
Yes, it is. At least, of course, we have our regular certificates, confirming our performance as always. And in this case, probably they mean explicitly the bio-based content, which is yes. We have been doing tests, and it's been verified by third parties according to an EN standard. By heart, I think it's a 16785. But indeed, it's been third-party verified of that performance, yes.
Okay, thank you. And fourth and final question, are all biomaterials sustainable?
Well, I think that depends largely on the definition of sustainable, to be fair. I think they can normally would absolutely contribute in driving down carbon in the products themselves, but there are of course various aspects. Production is included, transport is included, the way we build is included. So I would say these biogenic products absolutely have a very large role in going for the future. Yes, I would say yes.
Hannah, anything to add?
Like Dennis said, I think you have to think about where the materials are coming from, so your raw material, and then where you're sending it to a production facility. There is no point having like that a biogenic material on one side of the planet and your manufacturing unit is on the other side. So you very much have to think about the whole life cycle of a product.
Okay, very complex.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
interesting.
And thank you both for presenting this morning. We hope the audience has enjoyed the presentation.
Absolutely.
And as always, if you have any further questions, please do email us and we'll be happy to get back to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.